Hi, my name's Brian Birch, the dating and relationship coach. I'd like to talk to you about clean relationship coaching and advice. Today's topic is, are you ready to change but you don't know how? If you're ready to change and you don't know how, well, maybe I can demonstrate clean relationship coaching. It's about relationship coaching using clean questions, and the clean bit refers to there being very, very few assumptions and no judgments and much fewer barriers to actually understanding what's going on for you. These questions can help you understand your dating and relationship life, what you want, what will help you, and what may be restricting you. And the idea is to discover the best advice for yourself. With a coach or facilitator, you can look through what's going on for you and discover what it is, what kind of solution or next step would fit for you. Now, we're talking about difficult problems here sometimes, perhaps breakups, feeling rejected, feeling lonely or helpless, and these things may leave you feeling anxious, having low confidence, being angry or overwhelmed. Sometimes several of these can happen at the same time or happen in sequence. And another difficulty comes if you've tried solutions but somehow the solutions aren't working, or the issue comes back in a different form. Perhaps you feel you can't talk to somebody that you'd like to, or there's some emotional, religious or cultural restrictions. Perhaps you just don't know how to change. Coaching can help with these things. Clean language coaching is what we're going to use here. I'd like to use a simple registration, and basically I want to use a real person's words from a poet, William Wordsworth. He wrote this poem 200 years ago. So an awful lot of people have empathized with what he said and recognized what he was going through. Some of the language seems unusual for every day, but we can see by so many people having recognized it that actually there's something fairly normal and useful about the language he uses and the sort of questions we'll use to draw out this sort of language. So we're going to look at a demonstration between a coach and a client, in this case a sort of fictional William Wordsworth, perhaps around the time he wrote the poem. So the coach says, what would you like to have happen? The client may say, well, I'm wandering alone and I'd like to be happier. So when you're wandering alone, you'd like to be happier. Where are you wandering? I'm wandering in a field near the sea. And when you want to be happier and you're wandering alone in a field near the sea, that's wandering like what? It's wandering as if I'm a single cloud floating above the hills. So if you're a single cloud and you're wandering and you want to be happier, then what happens? Well, then I see a whole field of flowers, some golden daffodils. Is there anything else about those daffodils that went on forever, as far as the eye can see? And then what happens? Well, I feel the joy of those daffodils, and I feel like I'm dancing along with them. So there's a short client session using the words or the ideas of William Wordsworth. Now, these questions are very simple. What would you like to have happen? Where is? What they don't do is bring in a lot of assumptions. They ask about what you'd like to have happen is if you have a goal, which is fairly normal for a coaching session. And they talk about things that are around us anyway. We use space, we think about where we are, we think about putting things behind us. We use metaphors. We have to think about past, present and future. So it's a normal way of thinking about things. And then other questions explore what's going on what's anything else, more detail, and again more sequences. So the questions are clean, they're free of judgment, they don't assume that we deal with an issue in a certain way. Helps us be aware of places, and quite often we think of journeys and going to goals as going uphill, as in achieving something, being at the summit. So sometimes a place has an effect and we use it in a certain way. The questions help us look at different perspectives and perhaps bring out metaphors that may come to hand easily. Help us think about the detail of a situation and the sequence of events, and they don't push on suggestions and solutions that are the coach's idea and not the client's. They basically explore the issues, help the client get different perspectives, understand it in different ways, use metaphors to simplify things, and then the client so often gets new insights and choices. And these questions can keep going. You can see that the sort of conversation we had isn't necessarily the one that we thought we'd have at the beginning, but the language keeps working with whatever's going on in the client's mind to help them understand their world. So that was the demonstration of clean relationship coaching, in order that you get the advice that is right for you. It comes from you. I'd like you to join my mailing list. You'll see the form on the screen. Perhaps you'd like to fill it out as I read out the poem by William Wordsworth, Daffodils. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. Beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft, when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills, and dances with the daffodils. Clean language was developed by David Grove, James Lawley, Penny Tompkins, Wendy Sullivan, and Judy Rees. I'd like to thank them for their contribution. Again, please join my mailing list so you can see more demonstrations and find out more ways to help your relationship or your dating life.